Tanim, how do you actually make £10 million every single year in halal income doing property?
Okay, mashallah. First thing to understand is that there's no buying and selling involved. So we don't need a huge amount of capital. The model is a very simple, very intelligent model, which, by the way, is used by the likes of Hilton, by the likes of WeWork, by the likes of Enterprise. Multi-billion-dollar brands use this model, which is essentially rental arbitrage. So, very simple terms, we take on a property for X amount on rent, long-term rent and lease from the owners, and then we do something with that property to generate a bit of a profit. Now, some people choose to do Airbnb, service accommodation. Some people will give that property on to another organization like supported living or the home office. What we decided to do was to go into a very specific niche that was underserved, which is shared accommodation for corporate professionals. If you are someone who has gotten a job in London and you live somewhere else, maybe another city in the UK, another city in the world. People come to London from all over the world for their careers. When you arrive, what are your options? Where will you stay? Do you really want to spend close to £2,000 a month on a 1-bedroom flat somewhere, all with the bills, council tax and all of that stuff? Or does it make sense for you to just rent a nice room in a house with other like-minded people where it's going to cost you probably less than half of having your own flat? So flat sharing, property sharing, HMOs has been around for a very, very long time. But what's been missing is doing it properly. If you try to get a room in London, it's a horrible process. The rooms are terrible, they're dirty, they're dingy, the rents are extortionate, the service, the communication from the landlords and the agents is terrible, the maintenance is poor. So we saw an opportunity to just come in and do something that is in demand and just do it better than everyone else. That's basically it. So we started with one property, which, by the way, took me ages to get that first property. It took me 7 months to convince a landlord, hey, you have a beautiful 5-bedroom property. It's got 2 or 3 bathrooms. It's perfect for what I need to do. It even had a license, the necessary license, which is called the HMO license. And it took me a very long time to convince someone to let me take that property on. And we usually offer the guaranteed rent for 3 to 5 years. And then we do what we need to do, which is essentially spruce up the property, completely refurnish it, and then transform it into the best rooms on the market. And that's what allowed us to literally cherry pick the best possible tenants in the market, because when you have a really, really good product, which is in demand, by the way, let me tell you something interesting. The demand for rooms in, let's say, East London is more than 10 times the supply. Let me say that again. The demand for rooms in London is 10 times the supply, which means that there are 10 times more people looking for a room than there are rooms available on the market. That to me sounds like a great business to be in. Now, the reason why I got into this business is because I was looking for some kind of stable, recurring income. And after years of research and trying many, many, many different things, I thought that this might be the thing that I've been looking for all along. Something that can give me that stable, dependable, recurring income. So we started with one property, then another. Then COVID hit. Then, alhamdulillah, we managed to survive and to actually grow during COVID, which shows you how strong this market is. And then you just keep adding and adding and adding and adding. And then landlords were so pleased with what we were doing that they referred more landlords. And then we started working with agents. And now, alhamdulillah, we're at a stage where we have about 35 of these shared accommodation properties. So anything from 5 bedrooms all the way up to 17-bedroom complexes. And along the way, alhamdulillah, because of the honesty, the trustworthiness, because of the reputation, many more opportunities came our way, and we were actually able to start more verticals. Is it a vertical? Let's say more strategies where we now work directly with local authorities who are in need of properties. And that, subhanAllah, has been another completely new venture. And that is growing really, really, really fast. So this is where all of the rental income is coming from all of the tenants paying us rent for the rooms that they're renting from us, and all of the local authorities that are leasing the properties from us. And again, we don't own any of these properties. This is rental arbitrage. And this is why we've been able to actually scale it, is because we don't need to deploy huge amounts of cash to get the next property. Now, what's really, really interesting is, alhamdulillah, it is a scalable model, and there are more and more opportunities presenting themselves now, like the scope to start a cleaning business because we do a lot of cleaning, a scope to start a maintenance business because we do a lot of maintenance. And this is actually how the wealthy end up having multiple businesses and multiple streams of income. They don't start with multiple things. They start with one, they do a really good job, they smash it, they become the number one in that, and then more opportunities start presenting themselves. So essentially, that is a long answer to your question. So we're collecting £10 million worth of rent every year. Now, not all of that is income. Not all of that is income, right? Majority of that goes to the landlords whose properties we're leasing, right? And then, we may be left with a percentage of that. Let's say that's a 15% margin. For example, argument's sake, that's what we're left with. So let's say we're left with like 1.5 million a year. From there, we have expenses, which is team, office, overheads. And for us right now, the goal is to just keep doing what we're doing and to turn the 10 million a year into 100 million. So we're not really interested in extracting as much profit as possible. The goal is to keep reinvesting until you become the number one. And why should you become number one? That's another interesting question, because that's when you can sell a business for tens, maybe hundreds of millions of pounds, is when you become the best in your industry. And that is what every Muslim business owner should aim for, to become the best in an industry to the point where someone else is willing to come along and give you £50 million for your business. And that's when, really and truly, you never have to work another day in your life. You are able to set up charitable projects that will outlive you. You'll be able to make a true difference. And this is a transition that I had to go through, because for a long time, I was quite happy just making 10 grand a month and having a good, comfortable, chilled lifestyle. Then after a while, thanks to a lot of the mentors that I'm blessed with, I realized, no, we need to think big. And I guess this is my message to anybody watching this, is think big. 10,000 a month is nothing. We should be aiming. There are people on this planet making $1 million a month in profit, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million revenue. It's a very small minority, but I think if we educate ourselves, if we work hard, and with Allah's tawfiq, we can get into that top, I would say 2% of businesses that are doing 8 and 9 figures, inshallah.
How did you arrive to the point where you started thinking big?
Subhanallah. I was actually advised by a good friend, and I mention this whenever the topic comes up. Ibrahim Khan from IFG. He said to me a long time ago that, Tanim, think big. Whatever you do something big. And at that time, I was in the mind frame of, I want a lifestyle business. I want to make X amount every month I want to work whenever I want, from wherever I want. I was maybe averaging 20 hours a week. I was very comfortable, alhamdulillah, but I was not achieving my full potential. So the thinking big started coming when slowly started peeling off a lot of beliefs that were holding me back, a lot of limiting beliefs that to be a billionaire, you have to work like an animal. You have to sacrifice everything. That's not true. To be a billionaire, you need to work smart, not hard. Alhamdulillah, I'm always trying to grow, trying to get mentorship, trying to improve myself. I'm attending training programs, masterminds, coaching, and events all the time. And at one specific event, I had this breakthrough, which is, hold on, I don't have to sacrifice the things that mean a lot to me to be able to become a billionaire. And also, before is like, why do I need to be a billionaire? My goal is Jannah. I don't really need billions. But the truth is, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the capability and potential to make billions, then for you to not pursue it to the best of your ability, I think is a crime. It's a crime to all of those people that have the hunger, but they don't have the blessings that I've been given. Don't have the mentors, the opportunities, the environment, the ideas, the resources that I have. So I genuinely also believe that anything is possible. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing is impossible. So if a Bangladeshi guy like me who was born in a small town in Italy can, by the age of 32, be where I am, imagine what's possible through Allah's grace and blessing and tawfiq. Imagine what's possible in the next 10, 15 years. Where can He take us? So thinking big is one of the biggest messages that I have for our brothers and sisters in business. Please think 10 times bigger than you're thinking right now. Whatever goal you have right now, add a 0 to it. And next year, let's add another 0 to it. Because nothing is impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're going to do it not for the material gain or for the lifestyle or for the Lamborghinis or for the yachts. We're not going to do it for that. We're going to do it because our ummah needs it. How many Muslim countries are below the poverty line? What percentage of all the refugees in the world are Muslim? Just look at the state of the ummah. A bit more money is definitely not going to be a bad thing if used in the right way, inshallah. So we want to use the wealth, the millions and the billions, for the way, the path, and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, that is a noble mission to have, inshallah. So we need more Muslim billionaires.
Back to your business. Was there ever a moment where your property business faced an existential risk of failing?
Many times we were at crisis point. Many times. In fact, I remember in the early days, I was ready to give up. I was ready to pack it all in. I even inquired if any of my friends wanted to buy the business off me. There were many points where we were either close to failure or close to giving up or close to crisis. And that is the journey of business. This is why, as an entrepreneur, you must have insane amounts of resilience, insane amounts of tawakkul, insane amounts of perseverance. Because if you don't, then you will give up when you were literally meters away from striking gold. Literally. You were so close, but you gave up because you didn't have the necessary drive, persistence, and resilience. And you were literally centimeters away from gold. So that's another reason why Muslims should be leading the way when it comes to business. We should be the most resilient, the most confident, the most hopeful, the most persistent. Because our faith helps us. We embody all of those traits and qualities by default. We have the most sabr. We have the most istiqamah. We have the most hope. So how can anyone else compete with that? So that is the dream that I'm trying to realize, is to have Muslims lead the way when it comes to business. And hopefully when it comes to everything in life, because we have the blueprint for success in every aspect of life. And I'm just trying to show the business angle, that look, there is so much from a faith that sets you up for success in business. So much.
Putting property aside, what other halal businesses are out there for brothers and sisters to be successful in?
What I've come to realize is you can actually be successful in any business. You could sell tires and be successful. You could sell mattresses and be successful. You can sell eggs and be successful. You just need to learn how to do it properly. You need to learn the science of business, the art of business. There are certain businesses which probably are not worth getting into, but overall, people make money from all sorts. Everything around us right now is a business. What I'm wearing, there's a business behind this. There's a business behind the lighting that we're using right now. There's a business behind the camera that we're using right now. The room that we're in right now, this office, this is also a business. It's business everywhere. This thing that we're, this cover for the table, this is all products that someone is making money from. So I try to stay away from giving people a list of, okay, these are the best businesses to do, although there are some criteria that you must look at. But generally speaking, I think it's healthy to have the mindset that any business can be successful if you do it right and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the tawfiq and the success. Any business can. There's millionaires in every industry you can think of.
Any final thoughts before we end the video?
I'd like to wrap up this video by saying that I found my success, because again, as Muslims, finances is only one area of life. Our true success is in achieving the purpose of our life. But let's say I found financial success in this property space. That doesn't mean that everybody has to do this to achieve the success, because your success could be somewhere else. Your risk, your opportunity could be somewhere else. So I had to go through at least 13 different business models and ideas and ventures and failures to find my risk. And if you're in a position where you're looking for that, then keep going. If you have found something that you're good at, that you can see yourself building a future in that industry, in that business, in that model, then focus on it and give your all. That's it. Give it your all. Just aim to become the best at what you do. Even if you're selling candles, just be the best. If you're making burgers, just be the best. That is essentially the secret to success in business. Be the best. It's that simple, inshallah. So until the next video, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.